Hello. Today we're going to do something a bit different because I wanted to make a bonus episode, maybe to also have the opportunity to explain a bit why I'm making these podcasts, but also perhaps the chance for me to share one of my practices. And so I've invited a good dear friend, Nellie. Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
And yeah, we're going to dance together. So my name is Peter. I don't think I've introduced myself on the podcast.
Maybe it's a good idea.
Yeah. My name is Peter, and I am technically a choreographer. That's usually the simplest way I explain myself, but I'm invested and interested in dance and choreography, which leads me to why I made the podcast. I think I made the podcast because I wanted to find ways to host dance, which are supporting other qualities that I think I find in dance, and namely the experiencing of dance. So I think the stage is very good at hosting a specific type of experience, of visual, maybe some participatory, and I think dance classes are very good at hosting the experiences of specific qualities of dance, and then improvisation jams and things like that, more social dances, are very good at hosting a sort of relational quality of dance, whereas here I wanted to provide something that you can return to and that you can repeat and play with. So, yeah. Was that too long of an explanation?
No, I think it was good.
Cool. Yeah, so I have to decide what we're going to do today, which is a little bit different because I don't normally do this.
Do you have an idea of something you would want to do? Like
yeah.
A dance or...
I mean, I was saying like it should be Halloween themed since it's Halloween soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have this dance, which is part of Living Documents with Charlotte Ruth, who will come out, I think, perhaps tomorrow, the day after this is released.
Mm-hmm.
And the invitation was like called Living Documents, and it's meant to like collect the like to sort of collect and document a dance in its liveness. And I think you saw it in Copenhagen.
Yeah, I did.
I was out in the street in the meatpacking district, which was a sort of exciting place to dance. And I called my dance Peter Undead because Peter repeats, and this sort of looped document felt like a sort of like repeating something which is alive and making it almost like a zombie in a way. So maybe I could do something from there.
Is there a specific part that like you think?
Yeah, actually something just came to me. So it's very bitty. There's lots of different parts, but this would be specific. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the practice is like this. You are to touch what is real and feel what is true. So whatever that means, we spend maybe we can do like or between 15 and 20 minutes of like just going around and touching the room maybe and feeling its truth. And I think you can develop that as you're doing it and start to really question like, am I feeling it? Am I feeling its truth and its reality? And I think there's something spooky maybe and dead and alive about that. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, so feel what is true and touch what is real. Yeah? Okay, so we're going to pause for 15 minutes, and you can pause as well, and we will come back and then we'll talk about what happened. Yeah?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so we're back.
We're back.
How was that for you?
Fun. Moments of like, I felt it was a bit almost existential.
Yeah.
But somehow I feel like that's can be a case when I do your practices sometimes.
Well, I think the real and unreal sort of has like embedded already like is this here? Is it not here? Is this true? Is it not true? Is it alive? Is it dead?
Yeah.
And then like we were talking a bit about memory as well, and like, can I touch what has happened? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and this specific studio that we're in, I have a lot of memories here, and also touching things and doing a lot of fiction in this room, and it also adds another layer of like what is real.
Yeah. But how was that? Because like that's super interesting. Because so you were doing something that was fictional in here before, and now it's a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
So what is it to like touch something that wasn't real but now is real?
I mean, I had a moment where I was listening to the heartbeat of the heart on the floor, and then you joined me, and then I wondered if we were touching the same thing. But then I guess I was a bit touching the past, or
yeah. I mean, and I remember listening to the floor, and I didn't necessarily associate it with the heartbeat, but I definitely heard things.
Yeah.
And it's like there is something that is achieved by just doing the same actions almost, or like trying to achieve the same actions.
Yeah, and I feel also like other memories that didn't happen in this room, maybe memories that happened with you in other places came because we were here together, which I think was nice.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me dance is very much relational, so
yes,
it's nice to touch things, which also is to be in relation to what is there.
Yeah.
But then also giving space to think about the things that are there that are not maybe real in the same like physical way, or but still alive and
I think it's almost like because it has that added thing of the real in the task, it invites the non-real. Do you know what I mean? Like if it was just touch things, I don't think I would question their reality. Whereas because it's like touch what is real, touch what is true, there's a sense of like doubt of like, even if I am touching the chair, is it real, or like, or what is real about it, and what's more real about it than imagining I'm touching it, or remembering touching something else, like the history of it. I just did this thing with BMC with Bonnie Cohen, and she was speaking about the weight of consciousness, and she has us like put things in our hand and feel the weight of them, and then take them away and feel the memory of the weight of them, and then recognize the weight in other things through the memory of the weight that you've experienced of things around the room, sort of thing. And it's like, when do those sensations become real or true? Very existential.
Yeah, this is the part. It also makes me think, doesn't matter if it's real or not. Like, can it also just be not real? But then it is also real in a way.
Yeah. And there's also something like important about making things real, right?
Yeah.
Like to somehow, at least for me, like to value them, to appreciate certain qualities and like moments. Like there are definitely parts of the room that I went to which maybe I wouldn't have gone to, and doing it with you as well, like I felt like I was seeing things that you were discovering, like listening to the floor, and it's like, okay, how can I treat this as real, as important, as relevant? Like there's something like around value maybe as well, which is an existential question in itself. Like
what?
Well, like I exist, but like am I valuable enough to exist, or like
what do you realize somehow, or like what do you put attention on enough so that it's realized, or
and also valued, like because you could not touch the air, but then we tried to and stuff, and then it makes me curious, like what are the things that exist that we aren't touching, or we don't think we're touching, or we don't recognize to be real and to be touched. Oh yeah, we had the rain, the real rain.
Yes.
We touched hands at one point, and very lightly. I think I was almost trying to touch the intent of touching. I think we even said maybe touch. How can you touch? So I was sort of curious of like, can I feel you touching my hand? And maybe can you feel me touching your hand? And as we were like tip-tapping, it just started to rain.
So you're like doing this with the fingers, and then the sound tick, 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 tick on the windows.
Yeah.
It's a magical moment.
It was, I mean, and you said, I think we conjured the rain. And there was a sense of like is the rain more real than the touch? And there's something in created in producing the reality of it. Maybe we wouldn't have noticed the rain if we hadn't have been sort of meeting with that somehow.
When did you visit it the last time?
This practice. I think
last Halloween.
I did a performance of it for sure online during the pandemic. So I know that for like sure. But I think it is a practice that I come back to, of like, it's so simple, like just touch what is real, feel what is true, and it really connects to the sort of Pita practice of Pita, like am I Pita, and how do I recognize Pita? And it's a very like concrete way of like, what is real, what is true, how do I feel it? Yeah. But it actually comes, so because Pita Undead was a documentation, it actually comes from Pita in labor for your consideration. And in that we serve donuts, and we're at the RBF Huset, and it's like a sort of like a study circle to talk about work. And at one point, I think I say, let's touch what is real and feel what is true. And I invite the audience to start to touch what is real and what is true. And I think there's like a question of labor as well. So maybe we're always doing it when we like, or I'm always doing it when I'm like making stuff.
You know, I don't know how really this made me think about trust, but it made me think about trust somehow. Yeah, I don't know. Does it have anything to do with trust for you, or like can you relate to that?
Yeah, I don't think I would like first think of it, but when you bring it up, there is something, right? Like about do I believe this is real, and can I trust that if I treat this as real, will everyone else respect the reality of my recognition? And I think that's really important. And I think I mean, I often think about ethics in my work anyway. So, like the question of like, how do we attend to being with others, and how do we make sure that it's in line with what we value, and that it's changing if needed, and that it's listening, and it tries to remove its blindness or its biases or its ignorance, and tries to really keep on attending to the situation. So I think in there, like, there's a trust of like, oh, it's just a chair, right? Is it just a chair? Like, and how am I touching it? How can I touch it? Like, I think there's in the like questioning, maybe there's like a thing of trust.
Yeah, I think it has to do with like trusting that it's something is real enough so you can rely on it. Yeah,
True.
like trust as in
Dependability, or
and feeling that it's this is it. And I can trust that, and I can rely on that. And maybe it also has to do with truths, and that it's so much different truths.
True. Yeah. I mean, I was touching my own body at some point, and I touched your bone, and like, there is a question of, objectively we can say bones exist and things, but is it useful? Like, does it benefit, like, the situation? So I often think about that with dance, of like, there's some like assumptions, like you're always going to work with space, time, and movement in dance. Let's say that's the thing, and I'm like, that's true. You can't avoid space, time, and movement, like you can't avoid bones maybe in your body. But is it is it necessary to think about them when you approach, and you can approach through different concepts and things, and to allow for lots of like other kinds of truths to come out, and to be supported, and to not undermine different truths. Like, I don't think I'm a religious person or even a spiritual person, but I do believe that it's important to recognize how belief and that can shape how we can be with one another and be with the world. And I think these narratives and these stories and these truths provide us different ways of being present, and they allow for different types of creativity maybe with our experience.
Yeah, and also I feel somehow that trust is more like beneficial than distrust or like mistrust, to not trust things. So it's also a nice practice of like of trusting that things are there, and that there are things that are supporting you, and then there's things that you can question, but there's also things that are there.
Yeah. It's really nice. Like, I chose this practice because I wanted to do a spooky Halloween tribute. And I think what's interesting is that, in fact, it's almost the opposite of spooky. It's securing and affirming somehow. It's really nice. I like how you vocalize it. So thank you so much, Nellie.
Thank you.
And at this point, I usually ask people to promote things and stuff. So I will promote something. I have a website, and it's called stillpeter.com. And there you can find my Instagram and my work and different pieces and different projects and writings and things. And I mentioned it a little bit with Lisa Schumann, which I think will come out next week. That I am making a new performance for babies, and that's like a big project. And I hope that, that you have the availability to see it. We will tour Sweden with Riksteatern, so it should get shown in many places, but it has, and even though it's for babies, it's also for us who have babies in our lives to take time to be with what they're interested in and allow them to be the focus of our attention for a bit, and for them to teach us about their culture, what they are developing and what their interests are and values are sort of supporting. So I hope that maybe you have a friend of a friend who has a child, or you somehow will be able to attend with someone who can support that practice. But that's what I would like to promote. And promote's an ugly word. Yeah.
It's nice.
Thank
Go
you.
to Still Peter.
Still Peter. Yeah, stillpeter.com. Yeah.
Stillpeter.com.
Thank you so much for listening to this. For me, this feels a bit awkward talking about my own work, but hopefully it is useful and maybe answers some questions to why I'm making this podcast. And if you do have questions, of course, you can email me and write to me and stuff. I am available, and my email is on my website, I think. I'm pretty sure. All right. Till next time. And thank you, Nellie.
Thank you.